God bless you. How's your family?
Hey, God bless. Hey, come here. God bless.
Hey, God bless. Say hello to your family for me. How you doing?
Oh, give Johnny a scratch on the ass for me. How you doing?
Hey, give Johnny a good old smack in the ass. How you doing?
And tell Johnny he needs to fucking beef up a little bit. Eat a couple more meatballs and pasta for Sunday dinner.
Hey,
How you doing?
give Johnny a capicola mozzarella sandwich for me. All right?
Yeah, put a little extra mayo on that son of a bitch. Aight.
All right. Hey, about that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode, the 10th episode of Goose Chasing with you boys.
Dave's back.
We're back, baby. Although, Dino, that was a fantastic solo episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it on my travels last week.
Yeah, I could.
I'm actually kind of jealous. I want to do a solo one now myself.
It was kind of fun. You think it would be hard to talk to essentially yourself, although you're talking to the people, but you'd think it'd be hard to do that for 45, 50 minutes, and I could have kept going. But
it wasn't hard for you, I'll tell you that much.
It was fun.
Got some great insight. The turkey Matt had me laughing. That was funny. Because it was. I remember that.
It was
true.
true.
I mean, probably funnier for me because I remember like and that. I mean, the turkey didn't stop. You just hammered him.
No, he might have like picked his head up a little bit. Maybe not even. I don't know, but yeah, that was my deer hunting. My deer hunting instincts just kicked in, and that's the only thing I knew how to do. So I'm like, gotta stop him, man.
Yeah.
Kabonk.
Oh, what a time. What a time to be alive. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into another podcast for you today, the 10th podcast. This is kind of a milestone episode for us, I guess you could say. But as always, we are brought to you by TAGNBRAG and TAGNBRAG Productions. We are brought to you by TAGNBRAG Apparel. Still got that green hat that Deano is sporting on the podcast. Couple more available on the website. Get you some of that at tagnbrag.co. And as always, we got a couple last-minute spots for some land consultations available. So if you want a land consultation from your boys, holler at us. You could do that on the website as well, tagnbrag.co. There's better hunting in your future. Let's build a land management plan.
Together,
baby. Well, Dino, we can kind of recap on your episode from last week. The Cavs, that was a tough one. Honestly, that was tough to watch. It looked like a bunch of rookie-ass bitches, if you ask me.
Definitely looked like that. Jeez, oh man.
They were playing scared.
Talk about being petrified on the basketball floor.
I mean, nobody looked like they wanted the ball except Donovan Mitchell.
They didn't. Anyone that got the ball, just let's. I gotta pass it.
Dude.
I'm freaking out. I gotta pass it.
You were talking about Karis LeVert being the X factor, and then the day after, I was reading an article, and Donovan Mitchell actually said that Karis LeVert and the second unit would be X factors, and they were. You might as well not have had anybody on the floor, because they didn't. Not only did they just underperform, they didn't even want to freaking have the ball in their hand. It was pitiful to watch.
The crazy thing is we lost by 4.
Unreal.
Anybody shows up. Oh
my God. Dude, Evan Mobley, atrocious.
Terrible. Little boy.
Talking about defensive player of the year. He couldn't box out Julius Randle to save his life.
No, Julius Randle's going to manhandle him all series. And I give the Knicks credit, because you don't know a ton about a team until you really, watch them, like watch how they play. And I know it's playoff basketball, so they're definitely up in the energy a little bit, but they play some hardcore ass defense. In your face, tenacious D.
Up, I mean, all 5 guys just up
and
in it.
And they rattled them. They rattled the Cavs. I mean, we couldn't handle it. But the first 3 minutes of the game, they set the tone. That's how we're playing defense, and the Cavs were like,
and we're gonna attack the shit out of you guys on offense.
The Cavs had their tails between their legs. You could just tell by the first 3 minutes of the game. I'm like, this is gonna be not good. I honestly thought we were going to get blown out by 20. That's what it felt like. It felt like we were getting blown out the whole game, but
I
Donovan
some
kept us in it.
somehow we scrapped and clawed our way back in it, and we had a chance to win with a couple minutes left. We had a chance to win 2 possessions in a row. All we needed to do was snag a defensive rebound and keep the ball in our hands on a miss off of them, and we couldn't do it. In the one possession, they shot like 3 threes in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, brutal. And I'll tell you what, I think you and I talked about this like months ago when it happened, but the Kevin Love move, or the lack thereof, is going to bite us in the ass. And this is showing it right here, because not only would that dude come in and not be afraid to score because he's been here before, but the dude would actually box somebody out. Like, I don't care how big you are. The dude's a rebounding machine. He's been that way his entire career. Like, and that's, I mean, I don't know. That was just so frustrating.
We needed some sort of experience in the playoffs, which I always devalue because everyone talks about that. Oh, this team doesn't have the experience, doesn't have it. Like, when it comes down to it, it's all heart. But the first game, that showed the experience value, because we were friggin' scared.
You could tell, like, that in the NBA, there's a drastic difference between the regular season and playoff pace of play. Every possession matters. It's like insert March Madness into the NBA.
Yeah,
every possession matters, and even though it's a 7-game series, I mean, case in point, like, we played like ass and we lost by 4 points. Like, a couple possessions, you give that extra effort and grab that rebound, you give that extra effort and, get a steal, get a stop, whatever, and all of a sudden you put yourself in a completely different game. And the other thing is, I mean, Danny Green, you said it. You said it on the last podcast. Where's he at?
And this is what really makes me mad is, like you just said, the Kevin Love move is going to bite us in the ass. What did we do to quote unquote replace Kevin Love? We signed Danny freaking Green, and you're gonna freaking keep him on the bench. And Bickerstaff's gonna do that. He ain't gonna take him off the bench, and that's a dumb move. That will lose us the series. We will lose in 5 games if they do not put Stevens or Danny Green in the ball game, because both of them will handle it.
Yeah,
and Stevens doesn't even have the experience, but I know that dude will handle it.
Dude, but you saw Danny Green the last game or 2 of the season, and I know, it's our second or third unit playing out there, but when he's hitting spot up threes, like with his eyes closed, literally like 4 or 5 possessions in a row, put the guy in there. Like, all you need is a momentum stopper. You need somebody to come in and knock down a couple shots in order to stop the momentum on the other side. And we had no answer to that. I mean, they were double and triple teaming Donovan at times, and he was still getting a bucket.
Yeah.
Imagine if there was one other person on the floor that could have been a half-assed threat in those situations, and it's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah. Basketball, any sport, it's crazy what the fans see, and you're like, what are the coaches doing that we don't see? This and that. This game is not rocket science. If I was a coach and you feel the tempo of the game in that particular game, I would have said, I need to make some sort of adjustment or we're not going to win this game. You could see that in the first or second quarter.
Yeah.
So why not? You can tell that the team is scared. Nobody in the regular season, nobody's passing up a wide open shots. They were passing up wide open shots because they didn't want to shoot it.
It was nuts. It was like, I respect the team basketball and the, sharing the ball, but some of the time it was like, pass up a wide open shot, pass it to somebody else. That person passes up a wide open shot, they pass it to somebody else, which passes up a wide open shot and passes it to somebody else. Now we got 3 seconds left on the shot clock, and we got to throw up some bullshit ass shot, and then it's They get a
Garland's
defensive rebound, and we go the other way. It's like,
yeah, Garland he passed up so many open threes that he was taking all season. And he can knock those down. And when you whip the ball around the perimeter, and I'm sorry, I like Isaac Okoro, but when it ends up in his hands in the corner, that's not who you want shooting the three
dude,
for the
it
possession.
was so annoying. Even the announcers were saying it. Oh, they're gonna give Okoro that shot every time. Well, then why in the fuck is he standing in the corner? Why is he standing there for that shot? If number one, if he's not gonna take it, why is he standing there for that shot? And if they're gonna literally let him stand out there wide open and take it, why is he standing there for that shot?
Why is he in the game? Why is that not Danny Green in the corner?
Yeah, it's.
I mean, the whole Danny Green thing, it drives me nuts because Bickerstaff will not put him in the game. I would love him to listen to this, call him out on it. But the dude is 6'6". He's a strong dude. He can muscle up against these Knicks. The Knicks are big dudes. They're physical dudes. And I cannot stand watching Brunson tear us apart. You're going to let that dude, I'm not saying he's a bad basketball player. You're going to let that dude, he didn't even, honestly, I looked at his stats. It felt like during the game he didn't freaking miss a shot, but he actually went like
I know, I saw that too.
20 or something. I'm like, I didn't remember this dude missing this many shots, but
I don't either.
And just every time they had to have a bucket, he freaking made it.
And it was so annoying because it was ISO basketball at that point. He would come down the floor, dribble out the shot clock, and then he would, do a little spin move or a step back and just shoot it. There was no offense.
No.
There was no offense to their game. But it was at the point where that's really all they needed. They just needed buckets to keep us in the rear view, and they did. I mean, they almost, they had their tail between their legs for a little bit when we came back for a second, but that was it. And I don't know. They're going to have to make some serious changes going into Tuesday night's game. Otherwise, it might be a quick series.
Most of those changes need to just be mental. I mean, man up or get on the bench.
Yeah.
And if game one was a game, I'll go back to it. That is a game you have to get Danny Green and Lamar Stevens in the game. Maybe next game we're hitting shots and they don't need to come down to that. But as a coach, you got to see this is when I got to get these players in the game and try to provide a spark, because you ain't getting a spark from the other players. So
no,
that's when you try it. But next game might be a different scenario. We did not play good, but hand it to the Knicks. They made us not play good.
Yeah.
They made
and the other thing too is like you said, yeah, the toughness. You could see it in Mobley's eyes, deflated. You could see it in Garland's eyes, deflated. It's like, yo, this is the fucking playoffs. Like, quit feeling sorry for yourself and go do something.
Yeah, they just never been there before, and they got shell shocked with the change and
like they were supposed to win because they were at home and they were the higher seed and all this stuff. Like, come on, man.
And I guess as players, that's where they were shell shocked because they didn't realize that the energy difference in playoff basketball.
No,
I don't think they were not mentally. And honestly, that's on Bickerstaff for not, like, okay, you can have the freaking crowd noise in your gym when you're practicing. That's not what will rattle the player.
No.
I mean, a little bit. But what rattles the player is when there's a freaking 6'6" dude literally in your grill when you're 7 feet outside the 3-point line. And you're like, shit, I can't go anywhere without getting this dude out of my face. That's what rattles you.
Right.
And they wouldn't even let us get the ball that far out. They were denying the ball all the way out there. And that's when you're like, shit, I gotta step it up and play to get, this ain't gonna be easy.
No.
There's not any safe spots to have the ball, and that's props to the Knicks because they rattled us. They shook
they
the
did.
cage.
They did big time. We got to come out and with some different energy and a different mindset in game 2. Otherwise, like I said, it could be a short series for us. But
no, that's when the NBA, they'll just they'll go through their practice or their little probably lazy shoot around. That's all they're going to work on. But if that was me or like a high school coach or my high school coach, the next day he would have had 5 of some seriously physical, strong men playing 190% against us
in the
and
gym.
in your face and
Yeah.
saying, figure this shit out right now.
Yeah.
Figure out this energy right now.
Yeah.
But that's just doesn't happen in the NBA. Carry on. I could talk about that all day because it drives me effing nuts.
Well, you know what? You win with them, you lose with them, and in Cleveland, sports is a big thing. We grew up with it. We yeah. I mean, everyone. It's funny because even like moving down here, hey, I'm from Cleveland, this and that, whatever. Oh, you a LeBron fan? Well, no, not anymore. He's not on the fucking Cavs, so I'm a Cavs fan. I'm a
Yeah.
Browns fan. I'm a Tribe fan. I'm a Guardians fan. Whatever. Like, players come and go. I don't give a shit. Like, if you're on our team, I'm rooting for you. If you're not, then fuck you. See ya.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not rooting for you. So, yeah, I mean, grateful for the dude. He gave us a championship. He and 14 others gave us a championship. And he's obviously from Cleveland, so the history books will allow us to, love him a lot more once his career's over with. But right now he's on the Lakers, and they're part of the enemy, so fuck him.
Gotta have a good game too. That's for sure. I got
Turkey season started down here yesterday, or no, 2 days ago. I'm sorry, haven't been out yet, but I will be getting out this week. I think Uncle Jay was out there this morning cackling at some thunder chickens, but I'm looking forward to getting out there. Also, I was in Virginia last week and filmed Jeb Burton hammer a bird. It was awesome. Sweet hunt right off the roost. Had these 3 gobblers come in. We had a perfect ambush up under these cedars, had the decoys out on this roadbed. All 3 birds came in perfectly, chest in the decoys. Great footage, and
the best.
He hammered. I mean, we were done by 6:45. It was awesome.
The decoys are they're so funny because once you see them work, they work like so easy. Almost, obviously,
Yeah.
the calling matters, but they come right in and they're so focused on the decoys that like you can move around and you get awesome footage and you're just like, my God, those things came in like a string to the decoys. And then other times they just don't like those decoys.
It was funny. I actually learned something on this hunt. So we heard the first bird gobble early, like close to 6:00 probably, and we made our way around, like kind of almost behind where we heard him gobble because there was a field back there, and a food plot, and Jeb had seen some birds back there like the week before. And we got to the back corner of the field, and by the time we got back there, we could hear multiple birds up in the roost gobbling, and they were probably like, I don't know, 100, 150 yards away at this point. And the hardwoods that we were sitting in was pretty dense. Like, there was a lot of ground cover. Well, it got close to like fly down, and Jeb started making a couple soft yelps on his call, and then he took his hat and he just started waving that thing like crazy to make like a fly down sound. Dude,
Yeah.
when he did that, you could hear, like, I don't know if a couple of the birds like turned on the limb and faced us, but the excitement in their vocals, like, it was right then I'm
increased.
like, when these birds fly down, they're coming right here. I knew it. It was so crazy, and I'm like, wow. And I obviously that's probably not gonna work every time, but in this instance, it definitely worked because as soon as them things hit the ground, they shut up for a second, and then they gobbled, and they were noticeably closer. He hit the call softly. They gobbled again, and then they shut up for like another 30 seconds to a minute, and then I could hear them walking, and they gobbled, and they had to be 40 or 50 yards, and we couldn't see them yet. But then all of a sudden, 3 of their heads popped up. They made their way. They hit the road bed. As soon as they hit the road bed, they saw the decoys, and it was game over.
Yeah.
But that
It's just a little added detail.
that fly down
Sound.
noise, that fly down sound definitely piqued their interest, because they were alone, or there was a hen close or hens close, and they didn't know exactly where they were. But when that happened, that soft yelp, and then the tail, or the wing flutter with his hat, them freaking birds were locked on it. And like I said, I knew at that point it was game over.
It's definitely a good pointer, because especially when you're 100 to 150 yards away from where the birds are roosting, and it's relatively quiet outside, you hear them fly down. So, I mean, you can call them as like, how smart are they? But they hear every morning. If it's not windy, they can hear
Right.
birds fly down. And if they don't hear that, a lot of times they may still come in. But if they all of a sudden just hear a hen on the ground and they're not like, how the hell did it get there? That could be part of the detail that just like, I want to check it out, but I'm not gonna just commit and come in.
Right. Or they're gonna fly down, and they're gonna gobble their face off and try and gobble the head toward
Right.
them. They're gonna be like, if you're real, come on over, honey.
Yeah, exactly. The old
hat trick, baby.
The old hat
It
trick.
worked. Dumped them right in. All right. Well,
try that.
Oh, I'll be taking my head off. I can tell you that much. Over the next couple mornings, I will be taking it off. All right. Well, you last podcast you asked people to message us questions, comments, just some different topic ideas for this week's episode, given that it's the 10th episode of Goose Chasing. And I picked one out that I thought was pretty good. Jeff Dixon from Facebook. He said, possible goose chasing topic to chew on would be the history of Camp Cutlet. New upgrades, interior and exterior. How long has the property been in the family? Original acreage, added on acreage. Maybe some successful stories and tales along the way. You talked about in the past, if it was brown, it was down. What changed that culture? Obviously, it's not just one person that says that's what we're doing now. Like, what changed that culture? And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, and then he just said, Dave, just out of curiosity, why the move to Tennessee? But I think, I don't know, we could kind of go through a rundown of that. That's kind of a cool topic. I thought that would be a good one for this milestone 10th episode for us. So, I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, like, Camp Cutlet was established in 2014. That's Camp Cutlet. That's like the house side of Camp Cutlet. But Dean and I grew up hunting up on what we called the hill, Nettle Hill. That's what we called it, the hill, growing up. And I think it started as like a 40-acre chunk, if I'm mistaken, right?
I think it was 40 acres, yeah.
40-acre chunk of timber, and my grandpa had purchased it, I don't know, probably like 50 years ago at this point. And my dad's side of the family grew up going up to Lake Chautauqua and the western New York region. Everybody loved to hunt, loved to fish. It was a weekend getaway. And I think, they found this chunk of land probably 15 minutes or so outside of off the lake, and my grandpa bought it, and that kind of started what it is now. I mean, it did start what it is now.
Yeah, it's been 40 years ago.
At least. I think it was 40 years ago,
I
like
mean,
10 years ago.
they had he had some property like a mile up the road, mile and a half
That's
or
right.
so, maybe a couple
Yeah,
miles, and I think I don't even remember. Somebody had hit a deer, like shot it. I don't remember the whole story, but somehow they came across that chunk of land, and I actually think that it started off. They had permission to hunt that, and was like, this is love this piece of property, beautiful piece of property. Obviously, they were seeing a lot of deer and stuff on it, and ended up saying we got to have it. So I think my grandpa actually sold the other property to get that one, to get Camp Cutlet property now. And that's where it all started. And then, I don't remember when it was down the road, but it had to be like right when we were 4 or 5 years old, when that, like, the 30 acres next to it,
yeah,
they
it popped
bought,
up. Yep.
and then that bumped it up to like 78 whatever acres. And
And
then
then
we just little
the 10,
pieces.
well,
Yeah.
there's this 10 or 11 acre sliver across the street popped up and grabbed that. So that made it like 85. And that's what it was for
That's all
us
it was.
for pretty much all of growing up. When we were real young, we had permission on one of the big neighboring chunks that was like 240 acres. And that kind of changed hands down the family, and then they didn't want anybody hunting it anymore. But yeah, it started really for us with 80, 85 acres. And I remember opening day of shotgun season. I remember us putting 12 to 15 guys on that 85 acres and spreading them out. And I remember Dad and Uncle Jay and Grandpa like all trying to figure out, basically just drawing up the spots. And we probably had a solid 10 to 12, tree stands set up that were in place. And at that time, everybody just kind of went to their tree stands and sat for the day. And opening day, if somebody shot a buck, maybe one or two of us would get out and help them or whatever. But then that person would just kind of start walking around and booting deer. And then somebody else would shoot one, and then that person would, help them out. And then there'd be two people walking around and bumping deer. And opening day was always like the hunting celebration. It was always on Monday, and Dean and I always got out of school for it. We always stayed up, an extra day out of school for opening day, and there was always the most guys in camp, and that's what that we looked forward to. That it was the camaraderie, because for Dean and I, we were 10, 11, maybe 12 years old at the time, but we're there with all the guys. And so it felt like we were a lot older than we were, because we were getting the ability to kind of jump into the mix and be with the guys and be one of the guys for, the opening day weekend. That was always, I remember, was special for us.
Yeah, and it was always, like you said, that opening day being on Monday, you had the whole weekend to
To hang out and
be dudes,
right, exactly.
do dude stuff.
They be dude stuff. And then I guess to fast forward a little bit to the acquiring of actual Camp Cutlet. So right across the street from the main the main 75 acre chunk that we had was this little house. And it had yard and a pond in the back, and there was two older people that lived there always, growing up. And it's actually funny story, but we never knew those old people. We never knew who they were. We never knew, maybe we knew their names, but we never had like really ever talked to them before. They kind of just kept to themselves. And I remember, you'd be in the stand and that old dude would back out of the driveway. You could hear him coming out the gravel driveway on like a calm day, and he'd give a little to beep beep to his wife before he left.
Every time.
Well, back before there was cell phones, and this is a story that we had just missed in our time coming up, but back in the day, like if somebody shot a deer during bow season, they would come out to the truck and give a couple beeps, and everybody would know to get out and come, help track or whatever. So I don't know, my dad, Uncle Jay, my grandpa, there was a handful of guys up there hunting during bow season the one time, and that guy must have backed out of the driveway, and he gave his little two beep to his wife, beep beep to his wife, and everybody came out of the woods and met at the truck. And they're like, who shot something? Did you shoot? No. Did you shoot? No. Did you shoot? And then they realized that it was the damn neighbor pulling out of the driveway.
They all had gotten out of their tree stands.
They had all gotten out of their tree stands. But supposedly back in the day, you knew, like, especially if it was Uncle Jay that shot a deer, like there was no second guessing that it was the neighbor or Uncle Jay, because he would be acting like he was in 4-lane traffic just trying to get somewhere, and he would be just like hammering on the horn, echoing through the whole valley. Sorry, my allergies are acting up, but
oh yeah, mine just went through the roof the last 2 days.
But no, the old horn trick, and that was the guy that, I mean, they had the house that is now Camp Cutlet. So, like I said, we never even really kept up with them as much as we should have, knowing that, eventually that house could come up for sale. But one of them must have passed away. They passed away. The couple passed away. It had to be pretty close in time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember Dean and I were up at camp, or we were up on the land, and this is like the very, very beginning of our food plot journey, where we were like towing behind the 40-inch cutting deck and cutting little circles of openings, in the little brush spots or whatever. And that's what we were calling our food plots. Well, the one day we were up there, and all we did was park on the side of the road. I mean, we didn't have any, like a house or anything to go into. So even back in the day, like getting ready to go hunting, if it was raining, you were getting ready in the rain on the side of the road next to the truck, or you were getting ready in the truck, or if it was snowing, same thing. Well, we had worked all day, and we came out, and we were sitting in the truck, and we were just maybe having a sandwich or something, and I looked up, and in front of the house was a realtor sign. And I'm like, holy shit, Dean, look, that house is for sale. So we took a picture, right, and sent it to Dad and Uncle Jay.
Yeah.
And they like freaked out, like, we got to have it, we got to see it, whatever. And it lined up to where Uncle Jay was in town at that point. We went and saw it. We called the realtor, but she was like, it's already under contract. And I remember Dad at that point, like, was so beside himself, because he was like, why did we not ever connect with those people and make sure that if that property got sold, like, there was nobody else that it was going to? Because their kids didn't want anything to do with it. And I don't know. Like it just, for us, it made perfect sense. I mean, it's literally right across the street from a bulk of the acreage of, of camp. And so we called the realtor and she's like, well, you could still see it. You could put in an offer. Their offer is contingent on financing, whatever. So we went and we saw it. I mean, this house, when I say it was a dump, like it was a dump at that point.
It was in rough shape.
It smelled. I mean, the carpets, nasty. The curtains, nasty. Like there was bugs and shit everywhere. Like you didn't, I mean, staying in that place at that point would have been like a truth or dare type thing.
Yeah. And well, we did.
Well, yeah, but so what happened was we saw the house and it was funny. We like the realtor probably thought we were nuts. We walked into the house and instantly I was just like, "We'll take it." I think her name was Mary.
Yeah, well, it was.
Or I'm like, "Mary, we'll take it." And she's laughing and chuckling, whatever. And she's, showing us around. This is the living room. This is the kitchen, whatever. And after everything she said, we said, we'll take it.
We
This
had
is
her
the bet.
laughing after a little
Yeah,
bit.
we had her cutting up quite a bit, just being stupid, being ourselves, whatever. But once again, even after seeing it, my dad was like even more beside himself because he's like, why did we not connect with these people? But I'm like, everyone's like, Dad, hey, let's put an offer in. It's contingent on financing. They had 30 days to come up with financing, put in an offer, and we'll see what happens. If it's meant to be, it'll be. If it's meant to be, it'll be just like anything else. And 30 days came up. They didn't have the financing yet. We had an offer down for the full price, full cash, no contingencies. And that offer went through. The owners or the kids, obviously, of the people that own the place saw the offer, full offer, no contingencies, bada bing, and it fell into our lap and it all worked out. And it is now Camp Cutlet.
Crazy story. I mean, it was mainly it's an 11-acre piece with a pond. It was not expensive in terms of, well, if you look back at it now. Yeah, it was just crazy. That house was so, you almost didn't even know it was there because there were like these big hemlock. There was just trees like overgrowing the house.
Yeah,
And
overgrown the house, the
and
front yard, everything.
the driveway that had once been graveled, like hadn't been re-graveled in 25 years. So it was basically a grass driveway. Like I said, it was almost like the house, you almost thought of it as not even being there. And it would be cool. I mean, I have pictures on my phone. I don't know if we could pull them up during the podcast for everybody, but
We could pull them up.
I have pictures on my phone of what it looked like literally the day we bought it. And I mean, we've put our heart, soul, we've put so much into that place, literally.
I mean, 9 years now.
Yeah, it's been 9 years.
Yeah, 2014 is when we got it.
Yeah, it's okay. So 9 years. I mean, we've changed almost literally everything in the house. I mean,
Inside and out.
Even to the point of we basically reframed it essentially. I think that place was built in like early, like 1900, and
Yeah, end of the 1800s or early 1900s
and
at the latest.
when we had it down to the frame in a few spots, obviously we didn't do this all at once. We started with, the first thing we did was the bathroom, because you had to.
Yeah.
And going back to it, when you had the framing exposed, it looked like it was built in the 1700s. I mean, it looked like somebody cut down some of the trees literally on the property, milled them right there, didn't even let the wood dry, and built the house with it. That's what it looked like.
They
Like
probably did.
nothing was straight. Like there were
No
literally
straight
grooves
edges
from
on
the
the woods. Yeah.
knobs.
Yeah.
It's honestly kind of cool, but structurally, we almost had to do what we did because it needed to be reinforced. But this was all, I mean, it was all work in progress. And literally, we just completed the house weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like from really everything we'd want to do, other than maybe putting an addition on it in the future. I don't even know if we will do that or not, but we literally completed the house. We started with the bathroom that needed to be done first. There's only one bathroom in camp. It's on the main level, and the bedrooms, which we have just now made into a loft, are on the top floor. But the bathroom needed to be done first. We had to change. It had an oil furnace in it that
Yeah.
I think had a hole in it. Like it smelled like a damn diesel truck in the house when you ran the heat. We had to get that replaced.
Whole new water system.
Yeah, new water system. I mean, it was all it was in rough shape. I
I mean,
mean,
yeah, it smelled like rotten eggs when you tried to shower. So the scent-free showers were, I mean, not as scent-free as, we would have liked them to be.
that was part of the no contingencies sacrifice that we made to get the
Yeah, for
property,
sure.
because normally the water's tested and all that stuff. But we
Probably
had to
wasn't even sanitary to shower in when we first
no,
moved in there.
which we had to do all that ourselves. We had to shock, chlorinate the water, and do all that jazz. I'm trying to think of what we did next. Was it?
Well, I'm trying to think.
I
Yeah,
mean,
what
there
we
were
did.
little stuff that we literally had to change like a couple windows here and there, and then
We
I think,
did. Well, Dad's buddy Scott came in and helped
yeah,
us. Well, no, you and I painted the whole fucking inside of that thing. Remember,
yeah,
we
he
painted
might have
over
painted.
the
I think he painted like the ceiling or a little bit, but yeah, we did. We
we
painted a lot.
we painted the whole inside of that thing at first because there was some nasty wallpaper
Yeah,
and
he ripped out some of like the old carpet that was making it
yeah,
smell horrible. We put a like old carpet down. I mean, it was all just like throw and go stuff. He put up some of that like T11 wood paneling in a
side,
couple spots,
yeah,
like just in a couple spots to make things actually look somewhat
but
decent.
and hop
Um,
campish kinda.
and we honestly we roughed it like that for a few years. Um, I mean, my dad wouldn't even. He never even slept upstairs until this past year, because
Well, I mean, sleeping upstairs was not the most glamorous thing, that's
that's what
for
I'm
sure.
saying. He would like you didn't want to do it. Um, it was quite nasty up there. Um, and then I'm trying to think of when we eventually. I mean, the equipment was a priority to us over sleeping arrangements, so we added to the garage.
Yep.
Um,
And we actually, I think one of the second things we did was we put the lockers in the basement
oh yeah, you're right. We did
so
that.
we could, and we actually, there's two big like metal support beams down there now just to secure, once again, keep the whole place structurally sound. But we put 5 lockers in the basement for all of our hunting stuff, and so we could go right down there, change, whatever, and have a spot to throw all of our stuff. Because in the beginning, it was like pick a corner, put your shit in the corner,
Yeah,
and work out of that corner for the duration of the time that you were there.
yeah. And then we built we added on to the garage, which looking back on it, that could have been bigger because we're already jam packed in there. But we needed that. We needed because we eventually bought a tractor. We had then one side by side, but just when you got a couple pieces of equipment, a brush hog and a tiller, whatever, you just need room for it. So we added on there. We spray foam the garage. Our neighbor Corey helps us do so much work there. He does an awesome job, and we put some concrete down on the garage floor. Then we just did little things like we open up a wall here and there, added a nice barnwood beam, for a character here and there. And then in the last 3 years, we gutted the whole kitchen. I mean, years ago in the kitchen,
Oh my God.
your head was only about
6 inches?
6 to 8 inches from the ceiling.
And there was a ceiling fan
and we
in
had
there.
a fan in there. So imagine that. I mean, if you weren't careful,
You got a haircut.
You were getting clotheslined by a friggin' 36-inch fan. So we had that going on, but there was a little like crawl space that the house was vaulted, but there was nothing above it. It was just a little space. So when our neighbor came by, he's like, why don't we just, originally we were just going to redo some of the kitchen, put new counters in their appliances. And he had the idea of let's vault the ceiling. There's nothing above it. And we were like, okay.
Put some bucks in the kitchen.
We can put some mounts in there.
Yeah, baby.
So we ended up doing that, which was probably a bigger project than we would have liked it to be. But now that it's done, it's amazing because it feels like you can breathe in there.
And there's $3 hanging in the kitchen.
There's $3 in the kitchen. Yeah, everything is just, we got nice new fridge in there. I think we got a new oven. We have a dishwasher that we never use.
Big open or like big windows that you can see, before there was like one tiny ass window in there. Now there's like 3 big windows you could see out to the driveway of camp and beyond, which is nice.
Yeah, the kitchen area is essentially the best part of the house, but that's what we focused on. I mean, we are so big, as you guys know, following us on our meals and cooking. We're obsessed with that. So we made it the next priority to invest in the kitchen. And it's pretty badass. Everything is wood, tongue and groove wood. There's no drywall in the house. It's literally all tongue and groove wood. It makes it feel cabiny. It's pretty badass. So that finished up a few years ago, and like I said, we do these projects a little bit at a time. It's especially with COVID, it was expensive. Just whatever, supplies, everything are expensive. So finished that up a few years ago, and in the last 2 years decided to literally do the rest of the house, tongue and groove, rip the siding out, the house was just gloomy. There wasn't good lighting in there. Our upstairs was the priority, so we had comfortable sleeping arrangements. The upstairs was actually divided into 2 little rooms, and the only way to get to the second room was walking through the first one. So it was not like, if someone was sleeping in room 1, you're walking through there to get to room 2. And it's camp style, so it was divided by this little closet. The 2 rooms were divided by this little closet, and God knows what lived in there. I think rodents mainly occupied the space. So,
and then once you went into the second room by my bed by the window, like I was sleeping with bugs for sure, because bugs were coming through the wood, coming through the windows, and dying on the windowsills. And then they would just, when enough of them would conjugate on the windowsills, they would start conjugating on the foot of my bed. So I just kind of had to throw a hoodie on, tie it tight around my face, and then just say, screw it. If I eat one, I eat one. If not, that's good too. But
we had like 6 of those bug sticky tapes hanging from the window, and they were completely full. So once those didn't work anymore, the bugs would just fall onto the sill and then eventually onto your bed.
Yeah.
But we were like, all right, once the kitchen's done, it's time to redo the upstairs. But we had a lot of ideas for the upstairs, but it's camp. So we were like, let's just take this middle closet out and make this one big room. We're all just coming up here to crash anyway. So we just put we did that, opened it up into a big space. We were able to vault the ceiling a little bit more up there. Corey put a big dormer in, and we carpeted it. It's actually laid out up there.
Oh, it's so comfortable now.
There's 3 twin beds, 2 full beds. We could actually definitely put another one up there, but it just feels like a nice little barrack style camp. And the beds are so comfortable. Everything's brand new.
There's place to put your like main bag with all your whatever non-hunting clothes in it, and
it's a
it's just
great comfortable place to crash now.
Yeah, now and then we just got done doing the front office room this past spring, or well, the past winter basically. And so now the front office room is done with our computer setups and where we kind of charge all of our stuff and leave all of our camera equipment and stuff. So now the whole house matches.
Yeah, the whole house matches. But yeah, during doing the upstairs, the little living room, dining room was obviously redone as well. So
yep.
The whole flooring is redone, siding or the walls, carpet upstairs. Literally the entire house is redone. It's spray foam sealed, and the only thing original in the house is the wood stove, the wood burner furnace, which is the best part. It was literally like the only way we stayed warm getting the house to begin with. But that thing it's just, I love running that thing in the wintertime. It makes that house cook, I'll tell you that much. You'll wake up guzzling some water. But it wouldn't be camp without a nice wood stove.
No, I mean, camp is laid out now. It's comfortable. It's suitable for guests. It's I mean, it's awesome.
And it's funny, we really haven't gotten to, well, Uncle Tony was up coyote hunting. So he got to experience camp pretty much done. Actually, the front was still getting done, but we have not had any guests there yet with it fully completed.
We got to get somebody up in there. Who's going to be the first one?
Our last Brian from Rocky, we had him up last turkey season, and we were you should have seen this place when we were staying in it. It was a wreck because we were redoing everything. We were literally, there was plastic sheeting up, dividers. We were laying on the twin mattresses that we had pulled down from upstairs that were literally in the dining room.
Yeah,
someone might have slept in the kitchen. I don't even remember.
I think you, Uncle Jay, and Brian were in the dining room and then I was on the futon maybe with like plastic sheets and.
So it's decked out now. It's fun to be there. I mean, you can live there now, and and in the last month and a half, we just got. There's no cell service at camp, none. I mean, especially right where the house is. A lot of the property there's not, but right where the house is, there's not. And up until then, we had, I think, HughesNet satellite internet, which gives you blazing, whopping speeds of 25 megabytes per second, which
is not congruent for running a production business out of camp at any point in time.
No, if we have a short YouTube vlog of, it could be 2 minutes, it will take us 3.5 days to upload it. I mean, yeah, you couldn't download a damn Word document there. But we finally just got, it's funny, that was their max speed of internet. You'd call for like, can we upgrade anything? Like, can we get like 30 megabytes a second? And they'd be like, yeah, you can upgrade, but the only thing you can upgrade is your allowance for the month. So like once you hit a certain gig upload speed or upload, then it cuts it down even more. So there was no way to speed up the internet. But anyway, we finally got fiber optic internet there in the last month and a half, which is awesome. It's like 1 gig per second. or permit, whatever it is.
I haven't
And
even been up there for that yet. That's got to be crazy.
it's blazing. There's nothing. It's faster than our home internet here. So
I'm sure.
that's pretty incredible for the business itself. But I mean, yeah, we re-graveled the driveway. We've obviously the cool thing is that the pond, which is about a 2/3 acre pond, was completely overgrown when we got that place. You really couldn't even see it. I mean, literally, it was overgrown. It was the sides were just these tall, like beached, and all this, I don't know, pond brush was growing up. You couldn't even see the pond. You couldn't see 2 inches into the pond. It
It
was
was so
so
dirty.
dirty and just, it was a mess. There was no fish in it. We tried to throw some traps out there. There was literally no fish in it. Since then, we've stocked it. We cleaned up all the brush. We left a couple small patches for fish to cover. We've done so much, putting natural nutrients and things in there, fertilizers to clean the pond out, get the water levels right. And now we got some 2-3 pound bass in there. We got some big catfish, crappie, but it's a blast. It's a blast of fishing, and we don't even do it a ton, but it's a flourishing ecosystem in that pond. But I guess the whole point is we've done so much work to camp. Really, not that we take it for granted, but from what it was when we started, has been a night.
It's night
been
and day.
night and day. It's pretty badass place.
Well, and then what was it? Trying to think. This will be the 5th season, but there's 92 acres that butt up to the backside of the 14 acres of camp, right? Or 11.
11 is
11.
the actual camp, yeah.
So there's 92 acres that butt up to the 11 acres of camp, and we bought that this will be the 5th season. So the first season that we bought it actually is when I killed the Godfather, and that was on it, which is kind of crazy. But so now we have almost 200 acres with the original acreage from across the street, and now camp and what is behind camp. So we kind of extended it on both sides of the road. It gives us a nice variety of hunting. It spreads us out a ton, because we also have another 10, 11 acre sliver of land up the road a little bit on the same side of camp. We're kind of divided by the 80 acres of a hunt camp in between that, but nonetheless, like, it's just, we've got a great variety of food, cover, hardwoods. We've just got a great variety of hunting land and hunting like opportunity up there. So, and now we just got done finalizing
About to get done.
finalizing another 5 acres.
It's like 28.
28. Okay.
When it's all said and done, it might be 30. There's a couple acres that we gotta figure out, but yeah, it'll essentially be another 30 acres added on, and that will put us at 216 acres total at Camp Cutlet. And like you said, a couple of the pieces are, they're not perfect squares. A couple of them stretch out,
Right.
like have long fingers in certain areas. So yeah, we cover a lot of ground with that 216 acres, and it's that's going to really allow us to. I mean, yeah,
the new stuff is mainly tillable too, so it's going to allow us to create some more grain. It's going to allow us to create some more food, access parts of our property that we have now differently. So it's it just picking up another piece and making it even more dynamic for us is pretty cool. Definitely pretty cool.
But yeah, it's been living the dream, honestly. We literally, as 10, 12-year-old boys, we were dreaming about having more land, like just more land. And growing deer and how can we get bigger deer and this and that. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it's fun to look at because if you literally look at the past 20 years, it's
How it's evolved.
developed into the vision.
Yeah. And
And
it's taken 20 years probably. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
from
you
what we
can't obviously,
started.
yeah, yeah, no, you're exactly right. And you can't with buying land and stuff. You can't obviously all do it all at once, but
Right.
you do what you can. You pick up a chunk here and a little chunk here, and then you add to your equipment. Um, hey, we only have enough to buy this year, a tiller or a whatever, a brush hog, or now we bought our first tractor in I think it was 2015, 38 horse Mahindra, and now we have two of them because
Yeah.
you expand the land, you got to be efficient. So yeah, now we have two. It just again you add every year. You
Yeah.
just
Attachments and just, yeah, things to make your the jobs more, efficient.
yep.
And yeah, I mean,
It really boils down to being an obsession because the more you do, the more you want to do.
yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's what it is. So the more you,
Well, and then I mean, obviously we've made this all into a business, so you know, once you start putting yourself out there a little bit more and bringing a little bit more in and to the table, you can do more.
yep,
Not only do you have companies that are helping out with, they see what you're doing, they're helping out with whether it's seed or whatever, or even just what they give you financially helps you buy fertilizer, helps you buy a new attachment, helps you, you know, buy a new tractor or pay off the original tractor or whatever. It's just, it's a forever evolving thing. And that's what, I mean, shit, it's allowed us to obviously do what we do here full time. It's allowed us to, create a land management side of our business where, other people want our expertise on growing deer and, managing their land or hunting their land differently. I mean, it's opened up a lot of doors for us and continues to open up a lot of doors for us, which is pretty sweet.
it's been a lot of giving back to the land too. Yeah, I mean, it's to
Oh, no
create
doubt.
all
Well,
that, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, but a lot, like you said, even income that we've generated to bring in. I mean, we've put so much back into this property.
Well, and the sacrifice, like it wasn't just like you get to a certain point and you got a food plot now and all of a sudden you're hammering the first nice buck that you see. I mean, like in the beginning when we first got camp, I mean, think about it. Like when we first got the house, like 2014 and beyond, how many years did we sacrifice or did we just not kill anything up there? I
Yeah,
mean,
no, so
while we were trying to put in all of this work, did we literally not kill a deer? Like, not because
and
we
yeah,
couldn't, not because we didn't want to, but because we were trying to stay disciplined to a management strategy in order to make a difference on our specific property.
yeah,
You know,
and even the first couple years we did, it's hard when you have basically maybe four main guys in your camp, and you all
want to
wish,
shoot something.
yeah, and you all have two buck tags, which that's a whole other topic, but that should not be in New York. Shouldn't be the case, I should say. But you all have two buck tags, and you're literally hunting one buck.
Yeah.
Like there's one buck that of that reaches the standard that you're willing to harvest. Um, so that made it a challenge, and the whole point of doing all this was so that there could be plenty of mature bucks. Like when one big buck was shot, it like there's more to hunt. And that's not
Right.
just for us, that's for the neighbors, like everybody. It was like that's what you want. That's the whole goal. In doing all this. But it's pretty cool to be able to see results. You want to create yearly results. We're gonna have up and down years. I mean, we've shot 7 4.5 year-old or older bucks in the last 2 years, and I think this year we may have a little bit. It might have dipped down a little bit because a lot of other neighbors have shot good deer as well. And I think everyone's hunting better, smarter. But I think the process is working. I mean, 6 or 7 years ago, you couldn't have found a spring gobbler on our property. You wouldn't have heard one.
We didn't hear one.
They were when we first got camp, they were not existent. They weren't there.
Mm-mm.
And to be able to just not even deer hunting on a bean or cornfield, and there's 50 turkeys in the field.
Yeah.
That's all just, and it's not just us. I know some of our neighboring properties are doing good stuff as well, but it's all just a part of the working process to make make the game flourish.
Yeah, and I mean, even at that same point, like if you would have said all four of us would have killed mature deer in the same hunting season, you couldn't have believed that.
No,
you couldn't have believed that. And I mean, to think about going from that until like in 2021 was the first year that we did it. Like that's what, 7 years? I mean, that's pretty quick actually of a turnaround. No, it's pretty quick to even have the opportunity to do that, but then to actually do it and then to follow it up with a year where 3 out of the 4 of you killed mature bucks again, like that's pretty damn impressive. So it's like now it's getting replicable, now it's getting to the point where it's like those are the expectations. We're going to go in there and, I mean, all 4 of us are not going to kill big bucks up there, mature bucks up there every year. That's just the reality of the situation. But if two or three of us should be able to, putting some time in, 2 or 3 of us should be able to. And for that to be the norm now is like you said, that's the dream come true.
Yep.
That's the dream come true. Like on your home turf, when you can create that. And that's where, where all of a sudden, like the land consultations and the land management side of the business comes in, because it's like, if we can do that in New York, where like all the odds are essentially against you, the laws are against you, the hunting and the pressure is against you, the season and how it lines up is against you, like the weather and the extremeness of that is against you. Like when you can do it there and then show some consistency there, like think about taking what you did there and doing it in Illinois or doing it in Indiana or Kentucky or Ohio or even down here in Tennessee, Iowa, Kansas. Like think about the impact that you could have in states where it's more suitable to grow big deer. I mean, it's unfathomable to think about, like the turnaround that you could have on a specific piece of property that way.
No, it's pretty damn cool, if you ask me.
Sure is.
The history of Camp Cutlet.
The history. One day there'll be a documentary maybe about Camp Cutlet. I remember the first year we got camp, I think it was the first hunting season that we were in camp, that we actually based out of camp. And it would have been 2015, I think.
I think so.
2015, yeah. It was rut week. Dad killed a buck we called Caitlin. Did Uncle Jimmy kill daggers that year, or was that the year before, or the year? Maybe that was the year after. I think that was the year after. Anyway,
I don't know.
We had an awesome rut week. Like I said, my dad killed a buck that we called Caitlin. He thought it was another buck that we called Dozer. I mean, that was just a melee, that's a crazy story. for another day, especially with all the wokeness going on in the world right now. We probably don't want to tell that one. We'll get canceled. Our ass will get canceled before episode 11. But that I remember that we hunted the whole week. Everybody went home. Uncle Jay went back to Tennessee on Sunday. Uncle Jimmy, Dad went back on Sunday, and you and I stayed up there because the weather was. We kind of had some iffy weather, if I remember correctly, throughout the week, and it was going to finally break to where it was cool in the morning. It was just going to be like a sunny bluebird day. So we wanted to stay up there just to see, and we went behind the house. We had a buddy stand set up behind camp. We had a food plot, or what was a food plot in the making back there, and we sat there all morning. It was a beautiful morning. I mean, it was picture perfect, frosty. The sun came up, like you could just see the dew was kind of dissipating, and it was beautiful back there. We sat till probably noon, 1 o'clock, and we didn't see a deer, which was kind of shocking. We went back to camp for a quick lunch, and we got back in. We got back in by like 2:30, and we were only out of the stand for like an hour. And at like 3:15, we heard that ceremonial leaf crunch coming through the woods. And when it's a bigger or older deer, you could hear it in the walk. You could hear it in the cadence of the walk.
You can hear the weight.
Yeah, that it's not just like a doe and a couple fawns kind of scampering through the woods. Like this, what we heard coming was something on a mission.
Yeah.
And so instantly, hearts pounding, whatever. Well, Dean's on my right. I'm on the left side of the stand. And he can see back to our right a little bit more. And he, like, instantly, as soon as he could see the deer, goes, "Good buck." And so at that point, my heart's pounding out of my chest. I can't even see the thing yet. Dean swings the camera around, starts filming, and this thing's coming in the hardwoods off to our right. Well, we got a wide open lane out to like 50 yards for sure. I mean, yeah, at least 50 yards on our right. And then it kind of gets thick as the deer would walk in front of us. Well, he literally gets on the lane where I could see him for the first time. He's at like 35 yards. And I'm like, oh, like that is a nice buck.
Yeah.
A deer that we had never seen before. Don't have any trail camera pictures of him at all. 3:15 in the afternoon, bluebird day, and this thing's just on a stroll looking for his next mistress. And he kind of like peeks up at us when he hits that lane, but he just keeps walking. We had a scrape on the food plot in front of us, probably at like, I don't know, 40, 50 yards out. And I think he was going to make his way to that scrape. Well, he kind of got into the pines. Dean and I are rustling around. Like at this point, we're in like kill mode, and he's going to cross into another lane at like 32 yards. So I kind of noticed where he was going to be. Dean's on the camera. We've got 2 or 3 angles running of GoPros in the tree. I draw back. He gets into the lane, stop him on a dime, and he like instantly goes on like red alert, looks in our direction. But at that point, it was too late. And when I shot, I mean, you watch that knock like go right behind the shoulder. Like, I mean, absolutely smoked him, almost took him off his feet as he was turning to run away. And this thing ran, and he kind of got into the pines where we couldn't see him. He only ran like 30 yards into the pines where we couldn't see him. And Dean and I literally erupted. Like we couldn't even believe it. We hadn't seen a deer all day, literally all day long, had not seen a deer. It was November 9th, if I remember correctly. And so, I mean, knew we smoked the deer. We gave it a second, kind of tried to come down off of our high a little bit and went and tracked the deer. I mean, the deer went maybe 50 or 60 yards, crashed into this ravine. But that was kind of that was like the ceremonial moment of getting our first deer, like literally on the 10 acres of camp. That was the first deer that came off of camp land.
Yep.
And kind of, I don't know, christened us on that side of the street and just opened up a floodgate of more hunts and more memories back by this plot. And it was pretty badass.
Yeah, that was an insane day.
We got to make the call back home, and it was kind of like we capped off the end of that year's rut week with a successful kill finally. And I honestly, it was one of our first kills on camera in a while, if I remember right.
Yeah, good one. Double lung goes down. And it was just, I think you shot that deer at like 3:30 or something. So
yeah, so we had the evening.
It was a beautiful sunset. We got to take the deer out to like behind camp, the food plot that are kind of our test food plot. Beautiful photos with the sunset in the background. It was pretty badass.
Yeah, it was. It was very cool. So, yeah, I don't know. The history of camp.
It will continue. We'll continue to write it.
We will. We certainly have since then, and we got a lot more stories to tell from Camp Cutlet, but we are just fortunate and blessed to have the opportunity to have that place and and build the memories that we do. And year after year it just seems to get better and better and better, and more more memories, more people involved. And so we're very fortunate and blessed to be able to have camp, that's for sure.
Certainly are.
Well, that's probably a good place to cut her down. What do you say, Deano?
Yeah. It's been a good wrap session.
Good wrap session on the calves on Camp Cutlet. And as always, like Dean said last time, if you guys got anything you want to talk about, you want to go over, you want to hear a specific story, hit us up on the social medias. Pretty simple.
All the medias.
Pretty simple. But, we got turkey season firing up. Hopefully we'll have a turkey story to tell you next week of running and gunning something down here in Tennessee. And I don't know. Hopefully y'all have a great week. It's hump day today, it's Monday today, but it's hump day for you guys listening in. And yeah, hopefully you guys finish that week strong and get everything that you're after this week.
Yep. Let's make it a good one.
Let's make it a good one, baby.
And
hopefully at this time we'll have a Cavs victory under our belt.
Yeah, that's you're damn right.
Well, as always, folks, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and subscribe to us here on our podcast, Goose Chasing, on Spotify. And y'all have a blessed week.
Blessed week. Go Cavs, baby.
Go Cavs. And we love y'all for listening in each and every week. We appreciate the listen.
Appreciate y'all. Love you.